RPGs have become the lifeblood of video games industry, and as a result, the world is flooded with them each year. If you're an RPG fan, you've probably been living for the genre more mainstream acceptance over the past decade. From open-world RPGs to real-time action games, there's never a shortage of titles to sift through. Whether you are a console or PC player, 2023 looks to be another exciting year for the RPG lover. Enough talking. Today, we'll talk about the most anticipated top 25 new upcoming RPGs in 2023. Well, first of all, we'll talk about The Lords of the Fallen. It's a reboot of the Souls-like action RPG series launched in 2014. Compared to the first Lords of the Fallen, the game stands out due to a much richer storyline. At the same time, the game world and the story set in and have become much darker. Centuries have passed since the defeat of the demonic god Ymir, and the sinister deity is about to be reborn. The last hope for the world lies with the Dark Crusader, who must embark on a journey through the lands of the living and the dead to overthrow Ymir.
Fallen god's influence pervades the world again, corrupting even sworn enemies. To join his accursed lords of the fallen and damn humanity to a new age of devastation. Though from these darkest days, new heroes arise. To defy the gods, one must embrace the darkness. And so
Wyrdsong has announced a new title called Legend of Ymir. In the tech demo announcement released by the Wyrdsong Global, the producer of Legend of Ymir explains that the upcoming title will adhere to the story of Legend of Ymir, but will utilize Unreal Engine 5 as their first foray into a next-generation MMORPG. Arad Chronicle, Kazan, formerly Project BBQ and Project AK, is a dungeon fighter online-based, Souls-like action role-playing video game developed and published by Neopol.
우리 둘에겐 어둠이 깃들었네. 친구야, 나는 우리를 버린 자들에게 진정한 절망이 무엇인지 보여주려 하네. 우리가 지켜낸 세상이니 파괴할 권리도 있지 않겠는가? 자네의 선택을 기다리네.
In stone, the past is forever.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the second chapter of the massive reimagining of the classic role-playing game of Final Fantasy VII. Game recreates the plot of the original but offers a heavily modified gameplay, allowing more freedom of exploration and real-time combat. As with the previous game, it's full-length, standalone experience that reimagines the iconic Final Fantasy VII for the modern era, and it is also a PlayStation 5 exclusive.
What are you implying? That I died? That I'm some kind of imposter?
You were here with me 5 years ago. Where are you? What happened to you?
I'm trying so hard to find you.
Sorry. Feel like I failed you.
Repo Man is a polished open-world RPG that combines cyberpunk with urban fantasy elements in the fictional colonial city of San Alma. As Arthur Newstead, you start working as a debt collector detective, searching for debtors and squeezing as much as you can out of the citizens, from destitute poor to the biggest local celebrities.
I would part a debtor from his assets. What is it you would have me see? A job where I'm the devil? In a world of devils?
No. There is more.
The absurd they believe that monks come to steal your soul.
Can't go there, Arthur. Not for myself. The light would be the death of you. Soon, you will be blind no more.
Dragon Age Dreadwolf is the fourth installment of the popular series of RPG games developed by the BioWare studio. The fourth installment continues the events of the previous edition, Dragon Age Inquisition, and takes us on a journey to the fantasy world of Thedas, which we travel through in the skin of a character that we create.
It's time for a new hero. No magic hand. No ancient prophecy. The kind of person they'll never see coming. We've got your back. I've got your back. Demons, dragons, darkspawn. Even the Dreadwolf.
Welcome to Avowed, is a most anticipated next epic first-person RPG set in the fantasy world of Eora, the world we have previously visited in the Pillars of Eternity series. Avowed will be fully open world and much larger than Skyrim, but not necessarily in total size. The world will be denser and more contrasted, which presumably means diverse.
Turn heroes into queens and kings, and decimated our foes. Now our oaths are lost, forsaken. And you must face the monsters our sins have borne. Is an oath worth the weight of a crown?
Fable 4, officially just called Fable, is in development and it's undoubtedly one of the most highly anticipated upcoming Xbox exclusives. Microsoft announced the game back in 2020, confirming months of rumors that a new installment in the fantasy RPG series. That's in production for Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and PC with Forza Horizon developer Playground Games. Since that announcement, however, we've heard very little about the game. No release date or release window has been set for Fable 4 yet. The earliest we'd expect it is late 2023, though 2024 is more likely.
Not all stories have happy endings. But yours has yet to be written.
Okay, let's talk about Where Winds is an open-world action RPG that takes us on a fantasy version of China at the end of the 10th century. In Where Winds Meet, we take on the role of a swordsman traversing the world and facing enemies as he searches for a place for himself in a land in conflict. Using skills from various martial arts schools, it's up to you to build your own combat style and survive.
we were cast away.
Welcome to Atlas Fallen. It's an action RPG developed by Tech 13 Interactive Studio, a German team with a portfolio that includes such projects as the First Lords of the Fallen and the Surge series. In Atlas Fallen takes us on a journey to a desert fantasy world. We take on the role of heroes who traverse this land and discover the secrets of its past, trying to find a way to deal with an ancient threat. Well, let's talk about Wyrdsong. It's an open-world role-playing game set in an alternate fantasy version of medieval Portugal. Though we don't yet know any details about the story, players will take on the role of a fully customizable protagonist and will engage with the world through RPG mechanics, including combat and questing. Next, we have the Honor of Kings World is an online action RPG with an open world. The game is set in a magical fantasy land known from Honor of Kings. It tells the story of a young warrior who goes to an academy specializing in training heroes located in the land of Jixia. Before joining the academy, however, the hero has to pass a demanding exam. Okay, now we talk about Lies of P. It's a challenging action RPG game with a unique lie system where what you do and say as the main character dynamically affects gameplay. The game's story is a unique, darker twist on the classic story of Pinocchio. In Lies of P, we take in the role of a mechanical puppet who's looking for Mr. Geppetto, travels across the dark city of Krat and faces the nightmares lurking there.
Fulfill.
Wulong, Fallen Dynasty looks like a continuation of Team Ninja's recent work. The studio has been making similar action RPGs since 2017's Nioh, with the setting, demons and the art design in Wulong Fallen Dynasty radiating major Nioh vibes. If you found any attachment to Nioh or Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin, then the Wulong Fallen Dynasty is worth keeping an eye on.
I will not rest until the enemy has fallen! I cannot understand how one as strong as you could have gone unnoticed. Your force was like that of a dragon soaring heavenward.
It has never
Now we talk to Rise of Awakener, is a TPP action RPG inspired by the game Dragon's Dogma. In A Rise of Awakener, we play as a character who explores a vast fantasy world and faces numerous dangers in order to become the so-called Awakener. The game uses Unreal Engine technology.
Before the gods abandon the age, rise up. Only then will you be saved.
Next, we have Stormrite as an upcoming open-world RPG set in the dark fantasy medieval kingdom of Redreach. You'll play the role of a young squire exploring a mysterious world full of chaos and conflict. Learn the power of ancient runes, become a feared warrior, and take part in large-scale events that will shape the future of Redreach. Now we'll talk about code To Jin Yong. Tencent Games subsidiary Lightspeed Studios has announced our first Unreal Engine 5 game is coming. Code To Jin Yong, a wuxia-style hyper-realistic interpretations open-world action game based on the series of martial arts novels by Jin Yong. Our next game is Project Awakening, is an action RPG title from the Japanese studio Cygames. Project Awakening takes the players to a fantasy world in which humans live along powerful beasts. We play as a knight who must face not only monsters but also a much bigger threat.
Your ear to the ground, lest you lose the trail. We are the shield that shall not break. We are the sword that shall not bend. O God of steel and fury, give us flesh to hunt! From blood
Hogwarts Legacy is an immersive open-world action RPG set in the worlds first introduced in the Harry Potter books. Now you can take control of the action and be at the center of your own adventure in the wizarding world.
Or I can cast it on you. I'm ready. Crucio!
You've made your choice.
What have the two of you done?
Next, we have the Wayward Realms is an open-world fantasy RPG where choice, consequence, scope, and role-playing will be experienced like never before in a realistically scaled open world in a new class of game, the Grand RPG. Okay, now let's talk about Final Fantasy XVI. It's the 16th main part of the bestseller series of Japanese RPGs, published by Square Enix. Final Fantasy XVI brings players into a world where icons are powerful and deadly creatures that reside within dominance. A single man or woman who is blessed with the ability to call upon their dreaded power.
There will be losses, it is true. Yet for every citizen who falls, another can be bred. For every home that burns, another can be built. The Empire will live on.
Ravenbound is an open-world action RPG that experiences the freedom of exploring a vast fantasy world foot or on the wings of the Raven in the open-world, roguelike action game Ravenbound. In Ravenbound, we explore the fantastic land of Avowed as warriors who are the incarnations of Raven, a being created by the gods who gradually gather strength for the final confrontation with the sinister traitor.
To be its weapon. To meet the darkness and wound it, so that the cause does not die when you do. The hatred is a force stronger than you can imagine, but just as dust, carried by the wind, can level mountains. You can wield unimaginable power if you let it wield you.
This open-world action RPG mixes typical fantasy conventions with some real-world elements. In Flintlock, the Siege of Dawn's world's gunpowder has just been invented. That means that standard rifles play a role in combat along with the expected melee weapons and fantastical creatures. Even its environments feature a mix of standard pre-industrial architecture and magical temples. Enotria: The Last Song is an action RPG Souls-like set in a fantasy world based on Italian folklore and culture. It is defined as a Souls-like, but unlike other Souls-likes, we are depicting a world based off Italian summer. This game was developed using Unreal Engine 5, which shows its capabilities in terms of extremely realistic graphics.
Be the force of change in this wretched farce past due. Become its curtain call.
The First Descendant is a looter-shooter game that combines RPG play with third-person shooter combat. It presents beautiful visuals and attractive and unique characters based in a sci-fi style player versus environment worldview. This game features high-quality graphics and the game runs on Unreal Engine 5 technology.
If you feel confused, just reload your gun.
Starfield is a next-generation role-playing game set in space created by the acclaimed team behind the Elder Scrolls and Fallout. This huge Game Pass title had gameplay revealed earlier this year to provide a glimpse into what we can expect. Built on an improved engine, the Creation Engine 2, the game shows clear strides over Fallout 4 and other previous titles. Space travel, world building, rendering technology, and more are all covered. Starfield is going to be one of the biggest games of 2023.
According to the scanners, the abandoned research facility is in this direction.